Alright. Maybe we'll finish this up by this point now. Soon here. This chapter, maybe. I wonder how many chapters there are. I have no idea. Thanks for tuning in for the next chapter of The Town of Light. Yeah, so far, geez, so many things. I don't know what things are real. I don't know what things are not real. I mean, dang. From what if I can remember correctly here, it's like she was raped by one of the guys that work here, had an abortion. They blamed it on some stranger that came into the park. And then the Amara person, I don't know anything about that yet. I thought for a second that was like an alternate identity, but then they proved that she existed. And then, she said she was always there, and then the stuff that, they supposedly did, like in the shower and hanging out in the kitchen, things like that. But the report doesn't say anything. But it's like, which is real? It's like, because, like, if they're willing to falsify the documents of a stranger and all that kind of stuff, impregnating her, why wouldn't they, like, make up other stuff about other things? You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't know where the line of reality and where the line of cover-up is. Whew. Alright, well, let's get going. Well, that got me past this rubble. Can't go out the door. A flashlight. No flashlight. Light. Man, this place is trashed. What's this?
11th November, 1942. The patient speaks very little, refuses food, force-fed with nasal cannula. 2nd February,
Wow.
1943. The lack of kerosene for heating and the shortage of sufficient food is causing a lot of victims in the institution. War spares nobody, not even these alienated creatures. Despite her young age, this patient has become ill because of the cold and malnutrition.
That's why she was always like, no, have to keep her warm. She'll get sick. Makes sense. Nothing in there. Came from over there. Oh. Ooh, what's this? Was there a movie? Is there a movie? What are we gonna watch?
Once more, I feel like I'm on the edge of an abyss. What a horrible feeling. My paranoia is knocking urgently at the gates. Everything is booming, and in the end, I know they will enter and destroy me in a few moments. For a short while, I shall no longer be here, but in my personal hell, devoured by fear which will be directed violently towards the exterior. When you're not well, I mean in your head. When you're crazy. To cut a long story short, what am I? Well, that's that. I can no longer speak or move. I find it hard to swallow. I can't eat. Then it passes. I feel better, like now, perhaps. Then I feel increasingly anxious. I can't sleep. I can't stop thoughts that come to me, one on top of the other, and I suffer from memory lapses. Yes, there are periods I don't remember anything about. I don't even know what it means. It began happening with my fiancé, and Bruno was there. They said I did certain things, you know. I'm too embarrassed to talk about them. But I think that's the reason I'm here, isn't it? But now I no longer do any of those things. Right? Please send me home. I'm sure I'm okay, and I still want to go home. But nobody comes to visit me. Why? Do you know?
Is it gonna stop? Guess when it runs out. Renee T, 1943. Phone? The hell? Hello? May I ask who's calling? He's not here right now. Thank you. Telegram.
28th August 1942. We hereby communicate the death of Ada T., mother of Renee T., a patient in your institution. No known relative. Sincerely yours, Onofrio P.
Wow, that sucks.
I've nobody left in the world. Nobody at all. Solitude is very strange. It muffles everything, slows it down. It's an endless scream which doesn't emit any sound. A silent shout. I can't stop looking at myself. I will never leave this place. There's nobody for me out there. These walls have become my skin, and the wretched desperation within them is my soul without a voice. Here, nobody weeps anymore. How I would love to feel life, desperation, anger. I've stopped dreaming, daydreaming, maybe even thinking. I've lived in a reality which has corroded me, depriving me of everything, even of my capacity to feel pain.
Wow. Still no flashlight. Okay, could go through. Okay, I guess we're going down now where that whole thing was, so I can. Where's my flashlight? Where did my flashlight go? I don't want to have a flashlight. Hate that. Outside. Walk outside, I guess. Hole in the wall? Thinking hole in the wall. Or not. Nope, not leaving.
May 1943. Renee's in a good state of health. She eats and speaks, is orientated in space and time. Therapy suspended. 3rd December. She asks, reasonably, if she can leave the hospital. Evaluate patient for 6 months. 2nd May 1944. Discharge denied, despite favorable psychiatric opinion.
What?
Patient has no home or means of support. 4th May. The reasons why discharge is impossible are explained, and in this manner Renee learns of her mother's death 2 years after the fact.
Ooh.
5th May. During the night she tried to kill herself by hanging herself with a sheet, saved by the nurses. Restrained to her bed, she once more tries to kill herself by suffocation. It is decided to perform a transorbital lobotomy.
Oh, lobotomy. Dang. And see, back in the day, they lobotomized people just like a nail through like the eye, not like tear duct area, like right there, and just like tink, quick little tink, and it's like, oof. That sucks. That sucks a lot. Okay, I don't know where I'm going here. Oof. Yep, just a spike and a hammer, just tink. No, thank you. This. Achievement unlocked. Final chapter. New chapter 15. Alright, so We're on the final chapter. The use of lobotomy spread rapidly in Italy compared to other European countries and America. The original technique pioneered A. E. Morris was perfected in 1937 by A. who convinced the first form of transorbital lobotomy, blah, 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 blah. See, right there. There's a dink right through. The part involved advanced to the frontal lobe of the brain was sawing through the bone of the orbital above the eyelid, the lobes by means of an alcohol or formalin injection using a special instrument. Ugh. Just hurts. Contrary to what is often thought, the patient did not always receive invalidating damage, although this was often the case. When this was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1949, this therapy gradually fell into disuse after the discovery of chlorpromazine in 1951. Oof. Open it. Ah! Hello. Open your eye. No. Oh, are they going to show it? Are they going to show it? Oh, come on. Or is it over? Did they already do it? No, they didn't do it. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, let's wheel around in there. Oh. Oh, what the crap? Ugh. Oh, no. Oh. God dang it. Oh, what the crap?
June 1944.
What?
Operation successful. Patient tranquil and collaborative. Motor coordination capacity reduced, but she's improving. Transferred to the Tranquil department in the care of Dr. B. 25th of October. Continues to talk about Amara and her doll, Charlotte. The disturbances of motor capacity show slight signs of improvement. Difficulty walking, not capable of riding, and the nurses report that they have to help her dress, wash, and feed herself. In the summer of 1944, Renee was transferred back into my department. Aware of little, indifferent, hardly ever spoke. One day, she said, "When I find the courage to look at myself in the mirror, I see a young face which is aged and looks at me full of fear." She is a woman now who has changed profoundly compared to the girl that I had under my care several years ago. Only the sadness of her gaze and her intelligence are unchanged. She's so young, just 23 years old, but is lacking all vitality. Perhaps her condition may improve, but probably not. Her life has been thrown away. And nobody did a thing to try to avoid this.
Wow. I don't know. You're welcome for playing, I guess. That was weird. It's a crazy story. I wonder. I mean, damn. I know they said it was fake and all that stuff, but geez. I mean, honestly, this could have easily actually happened. Not necessarily these people, not necessarily these events exactly, but things like this could have happened like that back in the day. They didn't know. They don't. I mean, we still don't even know how a lot of things, brain and stuff work. And, I mean, back then he was even less so. My name is Renee. They told me that I have to write this diary, but I don't feel like it. It's not true that I feel better when I write. Actually, it's worse. I was a shy girl and I just wanted to be like the others. But that's not what happened. No. I did things that I think about them now. I eventually did things that I think about them now. They brought me here. Everything started with that damned light. It happened for the first time when I was still a little girl. I was 6 or 7. I was walking school, and suddenly I was walking outside school and suddenly the noise wanted to melt into an indistinct rumble. The light increased out of all proportion and everything bent its meaning. I could no longer recognize any anything. Objects, people, words, not even myself. Don't stare at me. I felt fear as a physical sensation. It prevented me from moving, from swallowing, from breathing. After God knows how long, everything went back to normal. But a new fear replaced the old one. Different, but terrible. That of the light coming back. And it did come back. And it did come back. My memory of those years is hazy, between the age of about 7 and 10. Memories are unconnected, and I couldn't say how many times and how frequently the light used to come. My mother gave me a doll around that time, Charlotte. Thinking back to it makes me want to laugh, but at the beginning, I remember that I was afraid of her. I thought she wanted to harm me, to kill me, to take my place. But then the light would come, and I guess lay beside me and did not disturb me. I was able to talk to her, and so she became my best friend at heart until the second year of school, when everything changed. She didn't laugh at me, and if I had to say something to my mother, I had her say it. Then the things inside me turned bad when she was the only one I could turn to. Now this makes me blush, but Charlotte was some kind of friend to her. Not sure what that actually says. Real friend to me. There it goes. I knew that she was just a doll. I wasn't stupid, but at the same time, she was real too. I don't know how to explain it. It's difficult. My mother would cuddle her and tell her things. I guess she was trying to communicate with me, but back then I was too afraid to understand it. I didn't tell anyone about the light. I knew that something terrible was happening to me. I thought I would die, and the home I felt and the shame I felt was so deep and uncontrollable. Restlessness took over me. Wow. I was scared when other people were nearby. I saw fingers pointing at me, mouths laughing, condemning me. I was like, wait, what? Man. Ooh, a cage. Crazy artwork in this thing. I tried to be alone. I would sit down on the ground, curled up in the dark. I would repeat a word, any word, over and over again. This helped me not to think, not to lose myself. I would spend entire days like this, hoping that my mother would ignore me. Her compassionate words hurt me and terrorized me even more. And so I had to. Shout and shout and shout the words After a few days, things got better, and little by little I came out of my hiding place, but the fear was always there, under the surface, ready to strike me even harder. Today was so real that even nightmares, but this particular to have plenty of, I can't, what? I was reading it backwards. From left to right instead of top to bottom, I guess. I remember a reoccurring dream from that time. I used to have plenty of nightmares, but that particular was so real that even today I asked myself whether it could have possibly been just a dream. I was in bed, enveloped by the warmth of the blanket, in the dark, about to succumb to sleep when I heard the bedroom door open. I turned to face the wall and did not have the courage to turn around. I only saw a shadow cast against the wall by the light filtering in through the door. Then I heard the door close again, and I thought that it might have been my mother, who before going to bed used to peep in to see whether I was sleeping. However, there was no time for breath. A sigh of relief for footsteps approached the bed, and I heard the sound of breathing close by. Fear paralyzed me from head to toe. The blankets were pulled back. I remember the chill of fresh air on my spine. Someone sat on the bed, and I trembled. Uh-oh. Then the dream finished. The light often came when I was at school, turning my fellow pupils into puppets that would terrorize me. To me, they appeared transformed, with the bloodied head of animals stuck where their own heads should have been. I would curl on the floor and would even wet myself. Ooh. The teacher would try to console me and would smile at me, but her mouth and her eyes would terrify me even more. Things did change. I don't know why. Perhaps during the second or third year in school. It was more or less in the same period that I became friends with Bruna. I remember the sensation of joy I experienced when I felt almost normal. The daylight isn't coming. The dreams have gone, and I have a real friend. One who speaks to me. I would repeat this to myself proudly while looking in the mirror when I no longer saw an embarrassing reflection. It seems to me that the world was a difficult place, but was no longer impossible. Bruna! I didn't understand what Bruna saw in me, especially as the war almost 2 years. She was almost 2 years older than me. I would tell her this every now and then, and she would joke about it, saying, "Nothing. I don't see anything in you, which is what I like about you." Then she would hug me. But one day, she was sad and you and I are the same. Don't be fooled. You are reserved and honest, and I'm not. But that's the only difference between us, the only one. Then she began to cry. I was struck by the perception in her words. But only today, after re-examining my past, do I understand what she meant. Things improved for a number of years, then suddenly everything precipitated. That evening I got home drunk, and the following morning a terrible crisis overcame me all of a sudden. What had I done? I was terrified. I thought I had lost my sight. The light burned my eyes from inside. Memories of the previous day emerged. Fits and starts. Images. Flashes, which unleashed something monstrous inside me. Repetition of words was no longer sufficient, and there was a voice in my head which repeated them louder than I did, and they were words of accusation and blame. And so I covered my ears and shouted and hit my head against the wall and threw up. Jeez, how long is this diary? I remember the doctor, the wall of filthy? Oh, I remember the doctor, the wall filthy with blood and vomit. My mother did not look at me. Bruno was crying, but trying to hide it. Charlotte was behind me. I never told anyone what happened. He came to visit me, but I refused to tell him. I become agitated. I think he liked me. Even though things turned out badly. From that period, I began to suffer from memory loss. The few things I learned didn't The few things I learned didn't something at all. Please, bees, base, phase, maybe. He told me I was looking for him. Bruno told me that sometimes, I guess maybe I got drunk. People in the village asked about me. Sometimes I can't read it when it goes into the corner like that. I was no longer in control of my life for my little corner. Ooh. I no longer considered my body as something disgusting and ill. Far from it. I began to look at myself, to caress myself and smell my own skin. I began to explore and experiment, finding physical pleasure. My ideas were not very clean, and I never spoke to anyone about those things. Bruna, however, spoke about them. She boasted about her love story and her young men. To my eyes, she was very lucky, always being wooed. By marvelous, generous, and kind boys. Thus I fantasized about her adventures, pretending that I was the main protagonist. But how could I ever be like her? Occasionally I would recall that she had black and blue marks on her body, but I was so ingenious that I did not understand. Ingenuous? Did not understand. Did not put two and two together. It was Don Gino who explained things to me a few years later. He told me about Bruno's father and brother, but I was already very ill. The light had returned, and that thing made me suffer even more. It was my world that was crumbling. When I spoke to Bruna about it, she turned her head away and was silent for a long time. Prince Charming doesn't exist, Renee. At least not for us. I was 14 years old. I didn't think it was possible for a boy to look at me and desire me. When he asked me if I wanted to go for a walk, I didn't say anything. I didn't even have the courage to look at him. He felt that he was being accused, injured. I chased him away. I insulted him. He was haughty, handsome. He said things about me to other people, which he shouldn't have said. My mother caught me when I came home. Drunk, she beat me and sent me to speak to Don Gino every day. He came back and tried to speak to me. I think he fancied me. Sometimes I sent him packing and I started shouting at him, but other times I embraced him and held him tight and loved him. But he couldn't settle down with me. I was 16 and I was ill and I had no future. I didn't get out of bed for weeks. Then I did things I was ashamed of. I went to bed with men. The guilt tore at my soul and the light came back to torture me. And the light came back to torture me. I invented stories to justify my actions. I couldn't bear the weight of myself. Mum found out about it. Her voice split my head. I pushed her away because I was afraid of dying, and I shouted to the whole world what was happening to me and that I didn't understand. The police arrived, and they carted me away. I remember the onlookers shaking their head. They would be better off without me. Cleansed of them and with something to talk about. Huh. Well, that was hard to read. Alright, well, that was The Town of Light. Hope you enjoyed it. It was different, strange, creepy, crazy. I'd probably play it again. I mean, not again, but if like I'd never played it before, I don't see it as wasted time. So it's an interesting story. Really was. But I guess like, subscribe. I'll be doing other games. Could be like this one. I don't know. I don't watch any videos or read that much about the game before I play it, so that way you get a genuine reaction to things. Ooh. So, yep. I said like, subscribe, all that whatnots. Thanks again. See everybody next time.